Today is a very exciting day because we just received a notification that our package from Best Dual Sport Bikes has been delivered. This is the power bundle. Let's open it up. Time to see what we got inside. First things first is the Grunt Exhaust Manifold. Next we have the intake tube. Got an extra spark plug, new fuel line hose with the larger inline fuel filter, the all metal fuel delivery system which replaces the 90-degree angle that's in the KTM currently and also replaces the plastic part which is susceptible to breaking. We've got our spark arrestor, and of course, because we're taking the end cap off the exhaust, we've got a nice black end cap with no restrictive screen on it. Let's head to the garage. And of course, the most important part is getting these stickers on here. Sometimes I think I just buy parts for the stickers. As you can see, in anticipation for receiving this power bundle pack, I've taken apart the bike, well the plastics at least, pulled the gas tank off because we're going to need to get into some hard to reach places. But first things first, as you can see, I've already pulled my reeds out. Pretty simple to do that. You want to make sure that these flat cuts are on the side, so we're just going to kind of work it in there and it should fit right in. All right, that's it. We are now installed, and this thing's not coming out. It is in there rock solid. You're not gonna make that fall out. And as you can see here, we've removed the ECU and sent it in to Best Dual Sport Bikes for them to do a remap of it. You can do one of two things. You can purchase one of their pre-mapped ECUs, and it's around $600 something, and when you send them your old ECU, they'll refund you, I think it's around $300, or you can just take your ECU out, send it directly to them as part of the power bundle, and then you'll get it sent back. We're gonna do the rest of this install, and then obviously once the new ECU comes, we are going to plug it in and we're gonna start her up. And one thing to note, it is going to take a couple of starts since obviously we're changing the fuel line. So, you know, it's going to take about 5 starts or so for everything to fire up since the gas needs to actually get into the bike. All right, so the next thing we're going to be doing is getting rid of this restrictive screen right here. Now, this is welded on there. So we got a brand new end cap. It's got the spark arrestor. We put that together. So now we're going to undo all these bolts, get this out of there, cut off the packing to be flush with this part of the exhaust, and then install it. All right, so now we've removed all the screws out of the end of the exhaust cap using the provided tool by KTM. It's kind of funny, when I first got the toolkit from KTM, I was like, I'm never gonna use these, and I use them all the time, so there you go. We are going to just use a flathead screwdriver, stick it right in here and tap this out. So let me go ahead and grab that now. It is easier to do all of this while the exhaust is still on the bike because obviously it holds it into place. And you want to kind of do it evenly, some from the top, some from the bottom. So now, as you can see, as we've begun tapping this exhaust tip out, you'll see it kind of exposes the little O-ring seal right here. We're not going to need that for after this, we install the new one. So once we get it out there, we're just gonna toss it, or we'll probably just keep it in the toolbox. I'll also admit that I got into kind of a flow state, if you will, with working on this bike, and I completely forgot to record the whole install. So I'm just gonna kind of go through every single thing that I did. I'm gonna show you the stock pieces and why I switched to these new pieces. And yeah, so let's jump in and take a look. We had to tap the crap out of that thing to pull it out. But we finally got it loose. We got the new one on, and let me just show you what the old one looks like now. It's pretty, got pretty messed up by me having to tap the crap out of it. And now here is our brand new black cap. Looks great with the stock exhaust. Nice and breathable right through there. And super stoked to hear how it sounds once we reinstall the ECU and fire this thing up. So we'll start with, I guess, fuel delivery. Right here, you'll see the new piece that was installed. I basically had to unclip this wire right here, and then there's two 8mm bolts under there, and then you pull the stock one out, replace it with the new one. One thing to mention, there's sort of this piece that you can see with the sort of red rubber right there. That's actually a piece from the original. And when you do pull the original one out, there is an O-ring that often gets stuck up inside of here that I had to sort of pick out to be able to put it on this one. So let me show you what the original looks like. And earlier when I mentioned the little rubber piece that was red that came off of this, it came right out of here, and then we installed it on the metal piece. And then the next thing we did is we updated the inline fuel filter. This covers so much more surface area than the original one. I'm gonna show you that in a second, but we also clipped this to make it a little bit shorter, and we also cut this fuel line from the tank to make it a little bit shorter as well, so that this wasn't hanging down or anything like this. So let's take a look at the original stock piece, and then you'll understand why I switched to this much larger capacity fuel filter. So right here is your quick disconnect. It sits like this. The hose comes down from the gas tank into here, and then this is actually the fuel filter that we replaced right here, as well as replacing the quick disconnect. So let's pick this out. This is the size of your fuel filter. As you can see, not a lot of surface area in here. If you were to get any dirt, any debris or anything, this is gonna clog up super easily, as opposed to the other one where the surface area is a fuel filter of the same micron level, but this much more surface area. So imagine, you know, it's gonna be a lot harder to block something that's this big as opposed to something that's this big, which is the main reason why we switched this out. And so we also received this in our kit. It's a spark plug, obviously, and it's basically designed to deal more with the higher pressures in the cylinder. So we don't need to worry too much about that with the 350 XWF. I spoke to Dave from Best Dual Sport Bikes, and he basically said, you can keep riding with the stock one, and when it comes time to change it, move over to this one. You'll be fine, especially with the 350. If you did have a 500 EXCF4 XWF, then you would want to switch to this one because they are dealing with higher cylinder pressures. We ended up installing this new piece right here. It's known as the Grunt Exhaust Manifold. It allows for better pressure coming through the exhaust. So basically we had to pull the springs. We reused the same gasket. Sort of need to remove the exhaust to do this portion. I basically unbolted the exhaust from here. I unbolted right there as well. And then we undid these springs right here, one on this side, there's one on the other side. And then we did undo these bolts, there's one on the other side as well. And then we were actually just able to slide this header pipe forward. This right here is the original piece that we took off, but essentially these sides right here are thicker than these sides, and the other one is completely circular, so it kind of opens things up a bit better and is going to allow for better exhaust flow. When we first took the fuel tank off, it was actually really easy using the quick disconnect. I basically disconnected it, plugged up both ends with the wash cap kit, and then was able to just remove this screw right here and pull the gas tank right off. In the future, when we work on this, it's going to be a lot easier to have something like this, which also came in the bundle that I purchased. And obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. You unscrew that, it loosens it up, you pull off the hose, and you can actually just place this right here, and you don't have to worry about it falling down because it's not just a hose. Like I did say, I had to cut some of the length off of this. I think the one that was sent is to be used on any bikes. You know, the 500s I think are a little bit taller, or take a little bit more hose to get down to the bottom. So I did cut this a bit to be able to get us where this is sitting about right here. And you don't really need to worry about this. This is aluminum. Yes, it is going to be banging around, but it's really not going to get messed up by hitting back and forth. So this is going to make things a lot easier every time we have to take off the fuel tank to work on the bike. If we ever need to work on something where the fuel tank's in the way, I'll just basically lighten up this screw. I'll be able to pull this right off, Because of the surface area you have here, it will sit here and it won't fall through, and then you can essentially just take the tank off and get to work on the bike. All of these things combined that we did to this bike are going to get us an extra 20 horsepower. I'm super excited to get my ECU and get this bike out on the trails so we can really open it up and see how it runs. Now, I did want to mention that I purchased this power bundle from Best Dual Sport Bikes all on my own. There was no discount, there was no paid promotion, nothing like that. I simply did this because I did the research and this was the best bang for your buck. You know, if you were to get a Vortex or get ECU, which I totally believe that they are probably very great, but it's about $900 for just the ECU. This entire bundle was sitting at around $800. You get so much for $800. Instructions were super easy, straightforward. I consider myself to be a garage mechanic. You know, I'm not super great at it, but I'm not terrible at it. And everything was super easy to install. The hardest part was probably knocking out this stock exhaust end. And other than that, everything was super easy to follow. Instructions are available on the website on Best Dual Sport Bikes, and Dave is always willing to answer questions that you may have. So we super appreciate you, Dave, for all the content you create and the products that you create as well to get our bikes running better. If you found this video helpful in any way, please consider subscribing, liking the video, leaving a comment. We'll see you out on the trail.